Okay, a few disclaimers before we get into this. I ripped off some of my nails, but not all of them. I ran out of dry shampoo and I'm not gonna wash my hair about it, okay? And lastly, this video is almost 100% guaranteed to be corny, cheesy maybe a little bit, even some could go as far as to say, possibly even a little cliche, I don't know. Definitely rambly, without a doubt, 100%, like just gear up for that, okay? And with that out of the way, these fucking truckers outside my house, I swear to God, it actually feels like when I don't hear them ever, and then I turn on my camera and they're like, let's go, boys. Anyways, here's something that grinds my gears, okay? I really don't like how we as a society are told from a very young age that we aren't as capable as we think we are, that we have limitations in some ways, especially women are kind of put into these boxes, but it happens to everybody. I think that a lot of people are kind of pushed down from a really young age, and they feel like they can't do as much as they can, or that they shouldn't pursue certain things for whatever reason. Let me rant about this for upwards of 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I just don't know how long this is going to go on for. But before I do, I want to read you guys a quote. So this is a poem called Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So I'm not a religious person. I just kind of bypassed that part. But that end quote is something that has been important to me time and time again to remind myself of throughout my life, ever since I came in contact with this poem. Think about how often something someone said, something someone did made you feel like, oh, okay, that's okay for me to do now. So now I'm comfortable wearing my bikini at the beach because I saw some other influencer post it and she didn't care what her body looked like, etc. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, we all the time are liberated by people around us. And alternatively, we're also restrained by people around us as well. And I think that that's, to me, what part of the issue is. We're living in a society of a lot of people that have been pushed down and restrained and told that they can't do things. And so that is what, you know, their beliefs are built around that, and they continue to teach those beliefs to people, and we continue to have people that sell themselves short. So this is me telling you, okay, I've fucking had enough. I just want to be very clear. I'm not trying to be reductive. Obviously, time and money and resources and connections play a part. There's so many things that play a part to people's ability to do certain things and be successful in certain areas. And I just want it to be very clear. I'm not trying to be reductive and say that like anyone can do anything and everything's fine, but more so that even people who have all the cards right in front of them still feel like they can't take a leap because they've been told they can't. And I've known so many people like this over the course of my life, and I talk to you guys all the time. People that DM me and say that they, you know, are scared to do something, or they're asking me how I got the confidence to do something. And that's what spearheaded this video today. I'm not gonna get into the message just because it doesn't matter. But I got a message from one of you guys, and this person was talking about basically wanting to do something, and they were asking me how I was able to do something, how did I gain the courage to do this? And that's what I'm gonna be talking to you about today. Okay, for today's video, I'm gonna be using my dear friend, Raw Beauty Christie's collaboration palette with Pure Cosmetics. I'm gonna be using the colorful side, okay? I'm gonna start with, I just like really can't get over that green. I'm gonna start with Garden State. So this is something that I realized when that person was asking me like how I was able to build the confidence and stuff like that. My response to that, my whole life, has been, I don't. And I interpreted my own words as being, I don't, therefore I'm not confident. I started to kind of realize that didn't ever feel like I had to build up confidence to do something. I've always been kind of ready to take the leap and not super scared to do that. And I realized that the reason for that is because of how I was raised. Shout out to my parents. So this was something that I didn't realize until this morning. I mean, I knew that my parents were great parents and that they were super supportive and stuff like that, but I didn't realize this specific branch of their excellence, okay? Growing up, I knew that my parents treated me like a little bit differently because I was a girl. Like, I think my brothers had more, freedoms maybe earlier than I did. Just like, I think that I was a little bit older before I was allowed to stay out a little later and go out alone with my friends and different stuff like that. But the thing that my parents didn't do is make me believe or feel that I had certain limitations because I was a woman, or that I would have certain expectations placed upon me because I was a woman. I never felt held back in that way. I never felt like my parents made me feel less than my brothers because I was a woman. And so it wasn't until I was a little bit older and interacting with more of like our general society that I started to realize how much people treat women like they are stupid, incapable, weak, just all of these negative things. And also, obviously the jokes people make and the not jokes at all that people say about women, needing to be homemakers and stay in the kitchen and take care of the kids and all that kind of shit. It was never once made to feel that way by my parents. They never ever told me that I couldn't do something because I was a girl. And so I didn't grow believing that about myself. I was not like restrained by my parents in that way. So I literally just went through life doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And also I think that gave me the space to question opinions that I didn't agree with and question expectations that I didn't agree with, because for as long as I can remember, I've been an anarchist. For as long as I can remember, I have not been the person to just blindly obey. I just don't. Anything that didn't make sense to me, I would ask fucking why. Why do we have to do that? Why is that the rule? Why is that how we do this at work? Why is this like, I wanted people to be able to explain themselves and explain the function of these things being, expected or implemented in whatever we were doing, be it like, school rules, dress codes, things that we did at work, whatever. I just didn't like accepting the status quo just because it was the status quo, because I think that it's silly to not adapt and to not change things. So I was pretty fond of like standing my ground around things. I remember in high school, this is so, oh my God, I was so fucking annoying. In high school, I was in my grade 12 year, and we were all getting ready for prom and stuff like that. And our school told us that we wouldn't be allowed to take anyone that was already graduated. So I had a boyfriend that was a year older than me. He had graduated the year before. Then they said that we weren't allowed to do this because of space limitations. But we could bring someone that was younger than us. Long story short, I had to sit down with the principal and I just said, this makes no fucking sense. Obviously this isn't a space limitation, so why are you treating us like we're stupid? Like, what's the actual reason why you guys won't allow this? And I believe the response was, you know how older kids can be. And my response was, what you're telling me is that you don't trust your own students, the people that you shaped, you taught, you implemented as much as you could in terms of like teaching. You don't trust them a year later to come back and be able to act appropriately at a formal event that they went to last fucking year. I don't like when people can't be straight with me, when people can't give me the real reason, because this is the thing. If the principal had said to us, listen, we don't want older kids coming because they're, able to drink now. Drinking age in Canada is 19 or 18, depending on where you are. We don't want kids coming because, they're above the legal age. We don't want them coming and being intoxicated, blah, blah, blah. We're old enough that we can understand that. You know what I mean? We're old enough that we can probably see that that could potentially pose an issue. But I just didn't like people not being direct with me. If this is my limitation, then you should be able to explain very clearly and concisely why that is my limitation, or why this is a rule that's being implemented, because I'm not going to just blindly follow it. I'm not going to just blindly agree to it because you're telling me that's what's what. And that's what's always bothered me. I hated being told, not as much as an adult, people don't say this to you, but as a kid, I hated being told because I said so. But why? Why are you saying so? Anyways, this has just gone on to a little tangent, but the moral of the story is I don't respect authority. I didn't just take things at face value. I didn't just say, oh, okay, I can't do that thing because somebody said I can't do that thing. And this is not to say that I was just like blatantly disrespectful to people, or that I was like a law-breaking citizen or anything like that, but more so that I challenged societal expectations more than anything. And this is just a kind of a quick aside. I hear a lot from people that they're nervous what people will say about them if they started doing this thing, whatever. Let's say you started a YouTube channel, okay? And I hear a lot of people saying that they're nervous about what people will say about them. And something that I try to keep in mind, and especially with doing the job that I do and having like a lot of people that have stuff to say about what I do and say online. I can't remember who said it, but someone told me, like, would you respect that person's opinion anyways? Would you seek out that person for advice? Would you like look to them and like, do you look up to them and stuff like that? So in some cases, the answer is yes. It's your parents or your friends or whomever else. But in a lot of cases, no. It's some fucking weirdo from your high school that you don't actually give a fuck about that's just being an asshole to you over Facebook. And so I try to keep that in mind when I'm making a decision. If that kind of feeling ever creeps into my mind, like, ooh, what might people say about this? I just try to always remind myself, do I actually fucking care? Like, obviously, if it's what my parent might say about it, or my like good friend or something like that, then maybe I would have a concern about it. But a lot of the times, the people that we're worried about are people that aren't like really a part of your life anyways. Anyways, that aside, I want you guys to be able to question things. Question why. Why do you feel the way that you do? Why do you hold the beliefs that you do? Do you actually agree with those things? Or is that just how you feel because that's how you were raised thinking? Or that's what you were told by teachers or friends or whatever? And I think that for a lot of people, we come to realize as we get older that there's a lot of things that we just never really questioned. But now that we're older, we can look back and be like, am I actually like chill with that idea? I want you guys to be able to question your beliefs about yourself and your beliefs about your capabilities. And also, I want people to be able to recognize how capable they truly are. We are so blessed in that we have access to the internet, which is just an absolute wealth of knowledge. Not all fucking good knowledge, okay? We do ourselves such a disservice by believing that we are so incapable while looking at everyone around us and being blown away by their capabilities. And I think a classic, example of this is how we look at our friends versus how we look at ourselves. My friends and the people around me, I literally just see nothing but potential and like endless possibilities, and I see all of their positive qualities. So, someone like Alyssa, for instance, my best friend, she is one of the most hardworking, capable, smart, thoughtful people I've ever met. She's the kind of person that like, if she doesn't have the answer, she'll find it. And I think there were times when maybe she didn't look at herself that way, or thought that she had some kind of something holding her back, some kind of limitation. And this is somebody that I've always looked at and thought, literally she could do anything. Like, she could actually do anything. Like, if she wanted to, she would. And even, Christy, Raw Beauty Christy, I've heard Christy so many times in person, in her videos, say, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I can't believe I've grown the way that I have, or that she got to the place that she's at in her career currently. And I know for me, looking from the outside in, and I'm sure for all of you as well that follow her, all you can think to yourself is, why would you not be here? This is somebody who is so creative, so kind, so talented, so fucking hilarious, so smart. And I've never once looked at either of these women and thought, yeah, they could do this, but they probably couldn't do that. No, like I've never thought that either of them had any, like the sky's the limit. You know, I think we are our own worst enemy and we talk ourselves down so much. And imposter syndrome is like a very real thing, which is so hilarious. If you guys don't know what imposter syndrome is really quickly, it's just basically the idea that you are an imposter in whatever you're doing. So you believe that you're not as educated as other people maybe view you, or you're not educated enough to be where you are, that you don't deserve the things that you have, that you haven't worked as hard as somebody else. Just all of these ideas that kind of ruminate around our minds and tell us that we're not as good. And it's funny because, you know, we do all of these things to excel, okay? We learn online, we go to school, we practice things. We spend all of this time educating and re-educating and learning and asking questions to get better at things. And then when we get better, we tell ourselves that we're not good enough. Or that we have no reason to believe that we're better now. And it's just so silly when you think about it, because we build these ladders and then we pull out the rungs from underneath ourselves. And when we fall, we're like, look, I told you I wasn't as high as I thought I was. Well, fucking of course not now. And going back to the poem that I quoted at the beginning of this video, you know, playing small and downplaying our contributions to ourselves, our investments in ourselves, our knowledge, our experience, who does that serve? What does that do for us, for anyone else? It's purposeless. But I think that, again, being raised in a society where we're told we can't, being raised in a society where we're led to believe that confidence is a bad thing, and I think especially so with women. And it makes me think of when I was in makeup school. So I basically graduated high school. 2 weeks later, I started my makeup school in a different city, and I had to move and all that shit. And I was actually fairly shy. Just like, I think that I'm somebody that I am more sociable and more able to be myself when I have friends around. So being completely on my own in a new city, I was really, really shy and didn't speak up much and stuff like that. But I never doubted my abilities when it came to makeup. And I remember one time arguing with a teacher of mine because we were rated every single day on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, so you were rated, you know, for showing up, for having clean brushes and clean stations, and then for your makeup that you did that day. And I have always been pretty fast with makeup. And I remember my one teacher docking me marks because I completed my makeup too quickly. And I was arguing with her and I was like, but how does this make any sense? Because you guys teach us to be quicker and that time is money and all of these kinds of things. But then when I'm quicker, you are docking me marks. And she basically, in so many words, was insinuating that because I had completed the makeup earlier than we were supposed to, that I must have missed something or I must have left something out. And it's just so funny to me looking back at this time because I was so fucking shy and so like unwilling to speak up and stuff like that in a lot of cases. And honestly still now, like I don't love confrontation. Like if somebody steps in front of me at a grocery store lineup, I literally would never fucking say a word. I would never be like, excuse me, the line's back there. I would just be like, okay. And if people continued to step in line in front of me, I would literally just wait. I would just wait until someone stopped doing that. But when it comes to somebody questioning my abilities, I cannot handle it. I cannot stand it because for me, it's like, I've worked to get to this place. I've worked to be faster at makeup. I've worked to be more knowledgeable about makeup. And I think that a lot of us are so easily shot down when somebody kind of does question our abilities. We immediately feel like, oh, fuck, yeah. Am I actually like good at this? Because like probably not. Like they're probably fucking right, to be honest. And it's like infuriating to watch because there's so many people that I'm like, what the fuck are you on? You've like worked so hard to be where you are, to learn what you have, to practice, to do all these things. Like you've committed time and effort and a lot of the times money and resources towards being better at something. And then the second somebody tells you otherwise, that's what knocks you off the horse. Fuck that shit, man. I think another place where we do a disservice to ourselves is looking at successful people as if they've always been that way. They've always been successful, or they have this piece that we're missing. We don't have that piece. We're not going to be successful in that capacity because we don't have A, B, or C. They must just have something that, you know, elevates them above the rest. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people, and I've, you know, spent time reading about successful people and stuff like that. And to me, a lot of people that are really, really successful are where they are because more than anything else, they're just like fucking ballsy and they're just like, yeah, fuck it. Like they're just unafraid to, or their fear doesn't hold them back enough that it stops them from doing something. And that's a lot of the times all that it is. It's not because these people are so wildly intelligent in comparison, or that they have unlimited knowledge in all of these different areas, or that they were a business mogul from birth or anything like that. It's literally just that they had an idea or they had something that they wanted to pursue, and then they did that thing, they pursued it. And again, just because it bears repeating, you know, there's obviously a difference between the people who genuinely started from nothing, and then there's the people like Jeff Bezos that, you know, try to humanize themselves by being like, Amazon was started in a garage. And it's like, Amazon was started in a garage with $250,000 startup money from your parents, but like, that's like, it's fine. And that's the thing. Do I think Jeff Bezos is smart enough that he genuinely deserves to be a multi-billionaire? Do I think he's so much smarter than the rest of the population that he is in that position because of his intelligence alone? No, I think he had a fucking good idea and he pulled the trigger on it. And I think a lot of people are so afraid of failure that they just won't even start trying. They won't even get to the point where they could potentially fail because they're not going to put themselves in the position where like that could be a possibility. And if you feel like you're one of those people that just doesn't do things because you don't want to fail because you're scared of the what if, I'm going to tell you the what if, okay? Worst case scenario, you have more experience and knowledge. Again, there's like the situations where maybe you lost out on a bunch of money, but we're talking about something different here, okay? You failing at something doesn't mean that you're now less than. It just actually means that you have more knowledge in that area now. You know what you would do differently next time. This is like our whole life. We learn from our mistakes. And then we do differently, hopefully. Some of us fucking don't, but that's okay. You don't suddenly become less valuable or less intelligent or less experienced because you aimed for something and missed. And I think another trap that we kind of put ourselves into is saying, well, I'll do that at this point in my life, okay? The time's passing anyways. So whatever you can do to work towards your goal, do it. And again, quickly going back to that imposter syndrome thing, I think, you know, we get caught up in this mindset of like, well, when can I call myself an entrepreneur? When can I call myself an artist? When can I call myself whatever? You call yourself that when you start doing that thing. And I tell people all the time, you know, whatever you're afraid of doing, it's generally only that scary once. So if that's, you know, applying to a college you really want to go to, or applying for a different job, or leaving a relationship, you know, moving out for the first time, all of these things that we fear so much and we worry that we're going to fail at, or that we won't be okay if we do that thing. If you've been putting off starting a YouTube career, for instance, you are going to start that career one time. And if you had to start it a second time for some reason, let's say you had to go back to work and then you wanted to try it again, that second time, the second time you have to do that thing, well, you've already done it once. Matt's yelling in the background on Dota. I want all of you to go through your life being as confident as Matt is in his potentially subpar Dota skills. I don't know enough about the game. Be as confident as Matt is when he's calling people online pieces of shit. And I think the other thing about, you know, being willing to take these leaps and just do these things that we've been putting off or too scared to do or whatever, I think you would be shocked how much you can feel self-empowered and that lies within you. Because when you start to realize how capable you are and you start to believe in your skill and your experience and your knowledge, or even just your ability to pursue those things, to pursue experience, to pursue practice, to pursue intelligence and knowledge in these different areas. Even just being confident in your ability to do that. I think you would be so shocked how much you start to amp yourself up for these things. You don't need somebody else to tell you, because you know that you can do that. You know how capable you are. And you really start to believe it, because you're showing yourself and you're proving yourself all the time, constantly, every day, by making these small decisions. I do a fair bit of downplaying myself, sometimes jokingly, in my mind a lot of the times not jokingly. But when I stop and think about just even little things that I do day to day, I'm like, I'm pretty fucking smart. I'm pretty fucking smart, man. I'm pretty fucking talented. I kind of did that shit, you know? Like a few months ago, I really patted myself on the back because I put double-sided tape, you know, like jorganizers, okay? This isn't relevant, okay? I'm just gonna say that, so skip ahead. I put double-sided tape on the bottom of drawerganizers so that when you open the drawerganizers won't like go back and forth, you know what I mean? They just stay put. And I was like, Einstein who, actually, because I'm fucking brilliant. No, but Bill Gates, never heard of him. He ain't got shit on me if I had heard of him. I'm so fucking smart. It's just crazy. It's great. The world is better for me having been in it. And this is not, you know, again, I want to be clear, this is not a toxic positivity thing. I don't think that we need to go about life not acknowledging truths about ourselves, or, you know, I don't think we need to look in the mirror and tell ourselves that we rock. Unless that's what works for you, then go for it. It's kind of what I'm doing to a fucking camera, so I can't really speak to that. Being able to embrace our insecurities, being able to acknowledge our faults and our weak points, I think that's important, while also recognizing that you can change that thing. We don't have to pretend that we're more confident than we are. We just have to get to the point where our lack of confidence doesn't hold us back in a big way. You know, it's human nature. We're always gonna feel less than to somebody else. We're always gonna compare ourselves to someone and feel like, well, I'm not that talented. Well, I'm not that smart. Well, I'm not that funny. And I don't think we need to pretend that that doesn't exist. I just want everyone to feel like, yeah, I feel that way, but fuck it. I don't know if any of this has been helpful for you, or if it's just been me rambling at a camera, which has been something I've built a career off of. But let me leave you with this, okay? Another favorite quote of mine. Just like a Pinterest queen, you know what I mean? That's me. Your garden grows where you water it, okay? If you were raised being told blueberries are poisonous, okay? Are you gonna enter a blueberry pie eating contest? Probably not. You're probably going to believe, until you're told otherwise, that blueberries are in fact fucking poisonous. You're probably not gonna be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna, what's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? You're gonna be like, well, it's fucking poisonous, so the worst that could happen is I'm gonna die if I do that thing. If all you do is sit in your insecurity and tell yourself that you can't do things and focus on the potential of failure, you will be unable to take these leaps that you want to take, or you'll make it infinitely harder on yourself when you don't have to do that. So water the parts of your garden that make you feel good. Pay attention to things that make you feel good. Pay attention to things that make you feel bad, and stop fucking watering those areas. You can still acknowledge that those areas are there. You can still be like, damn, that's a fucking dirty ass weed patch over there. But you don't have to like, fuck it, let's not, just let it live. I just want all of you guys to feel confident. I want all of you guys to believe in your abilities and to be willing to take risks. Because I don't think any of us want to look back at our lives and say, I just fucking wish I had done that thing. I just wish I had done that because I was waiting for a different time. I was waiting for whatever. And then we're going to look back and be like, all of those times were the times to do that thing. And, you know, we sit here and we talk ourselves down and we tell ourselves that we aren't good enough. And then we get older and we look back and we're like, you know, damn, I was actually pretty fucking dope. You know, the same thing we do with our bodies. My whole life, I've felt self-conscious about my body. I felt like my body wasn't as nice as somebody else's, or that it wasn't good enough to wear whatever thing. And then I look back at photos and I was like, damn, I had a fucking banging body. I try to acknowledge that, you know, if I continue to downplay myself, I'm never going to feel good about myself. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life looking back and being like, if only I knew then what I know now. So guys, don't be afraid to invest in yourselves. Don't be afraid to take the leap. Don't sell yourself short. And don't be afraid of failure. And I hope that some of this helped you. And if it didn't, then I'll go fuck myself. Okay? Thank you guys so much for hanging out and listening to me ramble today. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.